so that she is or says, but if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. What Paul's trying to say, when Jesus come, and what he said all prior to this back here about being dead to sin, and reckon you not that you've died unto sin once, you're dead to sin, but you're alive unto righteousness. You was married to this law and these rules and these commandments that was hewed out in stone. But you ain't no more. Quit trying to serve both of them, because if you are, you're not right before me, before God. You're the same as an adulterer or adulteress, no different than somebody would be a man living with, shacking up with two women, or a woman shacking up with two men. Wouldn't be no different, because you're trying to be married to both of them. You can't do that. Yeah, you can, but you're going to mess yourself up with God. And then the same people that wants to harp about how that, this gospel you're talking about we're dead to sin and all this, I wouldn't talk like you are for nothing, saying that we're dead to sin, and if you ever get saved, you're going to go to heaven and leave this world saved. I'd hate to think that I didn't serve a God big enough to keep me. No man is able to pluck me out of his hand. Paul said in the same teaching that he's doing about the law here, he said, I'm fully persuaded that height, nor depth, nor distress, nor peril, nor famine, nor sword, or wars, or anything else can separate me from the love of God. They can't pull this out of me. Don't make no difference what happens to this flesh or what happens through this flesh. If this spirit's born again, bless God, they ain't nothing can separate me from the love of God. Nothing. Nothing. Now, I ain't going to do it. But if I went out here and left here and got drunk as a hoot owl tonight, and got run over by a tractor and trailer of a wobbling up the road, hunting my liquor bottle that had dropped, and a Mack truck hit me, I'll go to heaven. You know why I'll go? Because, bless God, Jesus Christ bought and paid for my sins, and I received him to be my Savior. Now, that may be a hard pill to swallow, but you know why it's hard to swallow? I'm going to tell you. Because of people like me that's standing behind pulpits that's anti-Christ teaching, that's a teaching you that you've got to be all so good and so holy and so right. And if you was to bend over and you had a dress on and somebody seen up past your knee, why, you'll go straight to hell. You ain't got a chance on this earth. And if you look at a woman that's got a low-cut dress on or something, brother, why, you might as well have committed to act because you're such a sinner. People don't need to hear that garbage. We don't need to hear that. The Spirit of God is away yonder smarter than I am or you are or any preacher, pope, bishop, anybody in any place. And guess what? He lives in me. He lives in you. And if he can't guide us and lead us and teach us into all truth, bless God, we've had the lick anyway. Is this all right? We're free from the penalty of sin. And it'd be good if somebody could sit down and teach on this, Kenneth, just one right after another, and do this for a month, because you never could get it out. I mean, you have to skip over it so much. But all this whole New Testament about it, the biggest part of what it's talking about is the same thing that I've been teaching about. But people just pick little things here and yonder out of it and make this doctrine out of it and that doctrine out of it. It ain't talking about that. It's talking about sin versus a law. A husband that is dead, his wife can marry again. But if she's going to be married to him and he ain't dead, then she don't need to have them both living with her at the same time. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve the law and you can't serve grace. Talks about in the Bible about putting wine in old wine skins or firkins, they'll explode when you put new wine in old skins. It's talking about trying to mix law and grace. Law and grace. You read it, I beg you, some of you that thinks I forget I said thanks. Some of you that are scholars, read that. Study it out. It's law and grace, law and grace, law and grace. That's what got Jesus, kept him into trouble all the time. Brenda was talking about Jesus writing there in the sand. It was about law and grace all the way through the Bible. Well, Adam sinned, Kenneth. He sinned. It didn't make no difference. I was born here and didn't know nothing about nothing and never did sin. I'd still go to hell because I was born under sin. Not my sin, but under Adam's sin. Well, bless God, when Jesus Christ died for my sin, and the third day he raised up and went to heaven and took his blood and sprinkled it on the mercy seat by the Father, and he told God, he said, it is finished. When he said it was finished, he sat down at the right hand of God, and Herb King is righteous from now on.